Welcome aboard. You're about to join a UNOLS Oceanographic research vessel. Safety is our foremost priority. This program begins your onboard safety orientation. You'll receive additional training during your cruise. Take it seriously. Your life could depend on it. This ship is equipped to accomplish your scientific research, but working at sea can be dangerous. The ocean is a hostile environment. Wind, waves, cold water, even sea ice pose objective hazards to the lives of seamen, scientists, and technicians. While you're on board, you bear responsibility for contributing to your own safety, the safety of your crewmates, and the safety and security of your vessel. This vessel works under UNOLS safety standards, state and university regulations, and U.S. Coast Guard rules that impose health, safety, security, and environmental requirements on virtually every aspect of its operation. The goal of our safety plans and procedures is to help us achieve our safety goal, to cause no accidents, no injuries to personnel, and no environmental damage. A key objective of our safety program is supporting the health and welfare of all ship's personnel. That's you, members of the science party, and the crew. Aboard this vessel, health, safety, security, and environmental responsibility are everyone's concerns. They represent a culture you are expected to live by at all times.
If you come across a fire on the ship while we're out here, there's phones all over the ship. Call the bridge 102 if you don't remember that.
Ensuring that everyone conducts him or herself in a manner that promotes the safety and security of this vessel requires clear channels of communication. Everyone on board has the right and the responsibility to report accidents, injuries, near misses, safety hazards, and defects in the ship or its operations, to ensure that the ship leadership team has access to the best information available from every level. Our reporting policy requires scientists and crew members to alert their superiors about health, safety, security, or environmental issues. Only by working together can we reduce the risks that affect our workplace and the jobs we perform. The goal is to maintain effective, honest, and open communications between scientists and the ship's crew at all times. Regulations require that everyone complete a ship familiarization within 24 hours of boarding. This video begins that process. On most vessels, the chief mate serves as safety officer under the authority of the master.
If you follow me right this way, gentlemen, up the stairs. Please keep your hands on the railings at all times.
The safety officer or his assistant will give you a tour of the ship and alert you to guidelines you're expected to follow. For example, areas that have restricted access. Additionally, you will participate in an orientation that teaches you more about your specific health, safety, security, and environmental responsibilities. You are required to participate in these ship familiarization procedures. The ship's crew or the chief scientist can further direct you if you have questions about any aspect of safety or vessel operations. Some UNOLS vessels operate under a vessel security plan that outlines security procedures. International law has designated 3 levels of threat to maritime security, or MARSEC. At MARSEC Level 1, minimum appropriate protective security measures shall be maintained at all times. MARSEC Level 2 requires that a heightened awareness to security shall be maintained due to the greater risk of a security incident. MARSEC Level 3 means a security incident is considered probable or imminent, so that specific security measures must be undertaken. At MARSEC Level 3, the following procedures may occur. The current MARSEC level is posted prominently on board the vessel. Be sure you are aware of your responsibilities at each level. As a member of the ship's team, You may be asked to participate in MARSEC drills and training sessions. Take them seriously. Today, maritime security is a serious issue. The chief mate typically serves as the Vessel Security Officer, or VSO, but the master may appoint another appropriately trained officer to that position. If you have any questions on what is expected of you, contact the VSO or the master. The Company Security Officer, or CSO, is the overall responsible person for fleet-wide and office security matters. If a security breach occurs, the vessel will implement the appropriate response procedure. If necessary, the master will raise the security level to MARSEC Level 3 until the threat has been eliminated. If you witness a security incident, provide factual information to the VSO, master, and law enforcement officials.
Hey man, where are you guys going this trip?
Sorry, sir. Not allowed to discuss that.
All right.
Avoid discussing the vessel's security plan or its routes and equipment with outsiders. Access to the security plan and other sensitive information is limited to those employees with a need to know.
Good morning, gentlemen. May I help you?
Hi, I'm Doug Russell with Oceanographic Institution.
Ray McQuaid, University of Washington.
May I see your TWIC cards, please? Thank you.
Many scientists have TWIC, or Transportation Workers Identification Cards, and should present these cards at the secure access checkpoint whenever they board the vessel. If the vessel is operating in port at a secure facility, individuals without TWIC cards must be accompanied by a card holder.
You board on the stern, you'll find the chief scientist in the main lab. Please check.
In the contemporary era of terrorism and piracy, ships' crews must be eternally vigilant. Ships are high profile, vulnerable, and capable of causing major environmental damage. As such, they are prime targets for attack.
Hi, Bill.
Hi, Crystal.
Can I see the UNOLS safety manual, please?
Sure. Crystal.
Health, safety, security, and environmental management policies and procedures are accessible to all crew members. Ship's officers can show you where to find these documents. It is your right and your responsibility to raise any health, safety, security, or environmental concerns you may have through the normal chain of command aboard this vessel. The International Safety Management Code for the safe operation of ships requires all companies to appoint a designated person to serve as a link between at-sea and shore personnel. It is your right to contact the designated person, anonymously or otherwise, if you have a serious concern you feel is not being addressed by onboard superiors. This vessel safety officer can advise you how to contact the designated person or one of his or her alternates. This information is posted in a prominent location aboard the ship. Material safety data sheets are accessible in a public location. These documents provide information about hazards associated with substances or chemicals you may be required to work with, as well as instructions on how to respond if you come in contact with the contaminants they contain. These could include substances normally stowed on the vessel or chemicals that scientists have brought aboard for this cruise.
The crew will then launch the life raft via the pelican hook. The life raft gets thrown into the water. This painter stays.
You are expected to actively participate in this vessel's safety training. If you have any questions or suggestions relating to safety, don't wait. Report them to a ship's officer or the chief scientist immediately. Station bills posted throughout the vessel or bunk cards in your stateroom assign emergency stations and tasks. It's your responsibility to review these documents as soon as you come aboard and be aware of your specific responsibilities. There are life jackets and survival suits on board for everyone. Know where they are and how to don them. Know the location of your muster and alternate muster stations. The station bill identifies the locations of emergency gear and the emergency duties of all ship's personnel.
So the last thing we're going to do is go ahead and practice putting on your immersion suit. And what you're going to do that is take the immersion suit, throw it out on deck, roll it out flat, kick off.
You'll receive training in emergency response procedures during the drills and safety meetings held aboard the vessel. You need to know the fastest escape routes from your living and working quarters to your muster stations. Practice using these escape routes until you can follow them with your vision obscured. In an emergency, there may be little or no visibility. It's a good idea to carry a small flashlight when you're at sea. You need to have proper personal protective equipment for the work you'll be performing on board. You're required to use PPE whenever performing those tasks. Eye protection is required whenever the risk of an eye injury is present, and the style of protection depends upon the nature of the risk. The definition of appropriate clothing varies depending upon the job task.
Oh, mind your step here.
Closed-toed shoes are required in all labs and on deck. Casual footwear like sandals, slippers, and sneakers don't belong outside of living spaces. Hard hats are mandatory virtually everywhere on or around the ship when overhead lifting is taking place. Hearing protection is required anytime you're exposed to high levels of noise. Ask the chief scientist or one of the mates for guidance if you have questions about what to wear. The safety rules aboard this ship are designed for your protection. It's your responsibility to learn the rules and follow them. Onboard personnel are required to observe the basic principles of good seamanship at all times. This includes securing science gear and ship's equipment at all times. At sea, if an object can fall to the deck, it will. Keep safety in mind when you're moving around the vessel. Use ramps and designated walkways whenever possible. Practice one hand for yourself, one for the ship by making use of grab rails. Keep in mind that running, jumping, and horseplay have no place aboard a research vessel. Stay out of the bite of lines or cables, and out from under the load when there's lifting overhead. Use caution when opening and closing watertight doors. If you notice any unsafe conditions, report them to a ship's officer immediately.
Lloyd?
Yes.
Hi. I hurt my knee pretty bad.
You hurt your knee?
Yeah. Well, I hurt my knee out on deck. I was picking something up and the ship moved a little bit and my leg kind of got stuck and twisted.
Immediately report to the chief scientist, the safety officer, or the master any accident or injury that you observe or are involved in, even if it's minor.
Have you ever had any problem with that knee before?
Occasionally, yeah.
If you suffer an illness while on board, no matter how minor, that too must be reported, whether or not you receive treatment from the medical officer. Treatment of even the slightest injury can prevent complications, which could lead to a costly medical evacuation or vessel diversion.
Hey Lloyd, I've got some oil on the A-frame here.
Oil, chemicals, radioactive waste, or other pollutants spilled into the sea or anywhere on the vessel from any source must be reported.
Get the chief engineer for me too, huh? We'll
Okay.
get this cleaned up.
Got it.
Hey guys, bring those pads over here.
Defects in the vessel or its operations, safety hazards, or near misses must be reported immediately. Hazards are accidents waiting to happen. The faster they are eliminated or controlled, the less likely they are to cause harm. If an emergency condition arises, pass the word. Immediately notify the bridge and others who may be in jeopardy.
Bridge, Chief Mate.
Chief Mate, this is the bridge. Go ahead.
Captain, I'm down here by the computer lab and I'm seeing smoke and smelling smoke here. We got a fire in this lab somewhere. We need to sound the alarm and get a team down here.
The officer on watch will sound the appropriate alarm. Assist others away from danger areas. Report to your emergency muster station. You should prepare yourself to respond to the emergency by getting dressed in proper clothing. The alarm will be followed by an announcement over the public address system, advising you of the nature of the emergency and telling you where to report.
This is a drill, this is a drill. All crew report to your muster stations. Repeat, all crew report to your muster stations.
If you're not a member of a safety team with specific duties assigned on the muster list, don your life jacket, grab your survival suit, and report to your muster station. Don't try to be a hero. You're not helping yourself, the ship, or your crewmates if you become another casualty. For example, don't try to fight a fire by yourself unless you're certain you can extinguish it quickly.
Go ahead. Captain, I have 2 men in the space.
Confined spaces may contain toxic atmospheres. Don't enter a confined space and attempt rescue by yourself unless you have proper protective equipment and backup personnel. Alert others and support the ship's emergency response team if you're asked to do so. Make sure you understand your vessel's general alarms. The abandoned ship alarm consists of 7 short blasts and 1 long blast of the ship's whistle, and the same signal on the general alarm bells.
Man overboard, starboard side! Man overboard, starboard side!
Bridge, this is the chief mate. We have a man overboard, starboard side. We have a man overboard, starboard side.
Roger that, man overboard, starboard side. Let's start coming right.
Coming right.
In a man overboard emergency, hail and pass the word "man overboard" to the bridge. The bridge may either sound the emergency signal or 3 long blasts on the whistle, repeated at least 4 times. Throw a life ring or some other flotation to the person in the water. Keep the individual in sight and point him or her out to the watch continuously until you're relieved.
Okay, roger that. Let's set up for a shipboard recovery.
You'll receive training in emergency response procedures during the drills and safety meetings held aboard the vessel. You'll practice donning your survival suit or life jacket. The use of illegal drugs or alcohol is strictly prohibited aboard this vessel. There are no exceptions. Be aware that violating this policy is grounds for immediate removal from the vessel. If you require prescription medications, you must have a valid prescription. Be sure to bring enough for the duration of the voyage. Smoking is strictly prohibited on or around the vessel, except for designated areas. This ship must comply with many marine environmental protection laws. You will be instructed in the fulfillment of the ship's environmental management programs. You should not operate any equipment that discharges waste or liquids to the sea without first receiving permission and training from a qualified person aboard the vessel. Remember, for any discharge to the sea, there are required log entries. See the chief scientist and familiarize yourself fully with all the requirements prior to carrying out any job that results in a discharge to the sea.
Hi, Jim.
Hi, Crystal. Did you get all unpacked?
Oh, we did. I was wondering if we're still allowed to throw our cardboard boxes overboard.
No, actually, we can't do that anymore.
Garbage and other waste may only be thrown overboard when specifically permitted and by designated individuals. Permission must be obtained from the mate on watch prior to disposing of legal waste overboard, and strict waste disposal records are maintained. Garbage disposal rules are outlined in the waste management plan posted around the ship. Plastic waste must never be thrown overboard and should be placed in dedicated containers. Batteries and other recyclables should be placed in designated containers for collection ashore. Other waste should be managed or recycled. Ask the chief scientist or mate for advice if you're not sure how to dispose of something. You're going to learn more about this vessel's health, safety, security, and environmental policies during a pre-departure safety briefing. For now, welcome aboard as a member of the science party and as part of the ship's crew. That automatically makes you a member of the ship's safety team. Thank you for joining us and for promoting a safety culture aboard this vessel.